Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl Dream Team's Orcs. So what we're doing is we're going through every team available in Blood Bowl. That is now about to be 30 when Khorne lands, and we are kind of planning out what my version of a optimal build would be for League. So we're looking at several points in a team's development. We're looking at 1250, 1500 and 1750. Basically the 3 points along its development, what skills should be on what player and where and what you have in that point. Now this is just my take. You can take whatever player you want. You can put skills on whoever you want in whatever order you want. But for me, if I was planning to play a league with Orcs, this is how I would build my team. So if you are planning on playing a team with Orcs or in a league against them, have a look at this video. It will kind of give you an idea of what you're likely to have. Okay, so let's start out at 1250. So this roster, we've got 4 blitzers and 4 big and blockers. Now, this is probably, we're going to start off with the most argumentative element here, an Orc Thrower. So my version of the Orc team, I like to take the Orc Thrower early. It's risky, I'll admit. Okay, having that extra armor 10 plus line Orc on the line is definitely beneficial, but I just find it really difficult to pass up on the sure hands. Now, Orcs should not be throwing. They shouldn't be doing a ton of other stuff. Now, I'm looking at this by using the thrower to save us money on a reroll. Now, that's early on. What that means is that we can go with that route and we can have all 4 of our blitzers and all 4 of our big and blockers, and that is so huge for the team. You can do that, you can save money on a reroll, and you can start developing your players up earlier. Now, an alternate route is to not take the thrower, to take a line Orc instead, and to just use your blitzers as ball carriers and things like that. That's absolutely fine. My version here is about using all 8 combat pieces as combat pieces. 4 of those, the blitzers, are going to be fantastic receivers, fantastic ball carriers if you need them, but I like the idea of taking that thrower early and using it to get that leader reroll. That will free up the rest of the cash to focus on buying all the positionals that you want to. So at 1250 or 1255 here, got 4 blitzers. Now, 4 blitzers, 4 black orcs, and they play certain roles. So I've gone with tackle on a blitzer early. Depending on how your league is looking, if you're playing in a stunty heavy environment, in a wood elf heavy, skaven heavy environment, then prioritizing more tackle is going to be of benefit to you. But the way I like to brew them up, 2 mighty blow, 2 for removal. Okay, those blitzers can be your strikers. Those are the guys who are going to fly around and punching things. Then you've got a combo pair of blitzers. You've got a guard and a tackle. Now, like I said, if it is a dodge heavy environment, then some of these mighty blow players can swap over into tackle, and likewise, if there's no dodge, maybe don't take it. It is always useful having a 1 tackle blitzer though. And being able to use that guard blitzer as well is going to give you a bunch of good blocks. Okay, so these 2 here are really important regardless of whatever's going on in your league. By 1250, you've probably played 4, 5, 6 games in your league now. There will be players there with dodge, and if they don't have dodge now, they're going to get dodge. So the sooner you have a tackle piece to counter a gutter runner, to just pick up on stunties, the sooner you're going to be able to just box in your opponent and ruin their choices. That guard element there is going to be really beneficial too. So that guard piece, movement 6, as far as Orcs go, that ain't bad here. This is the fastest player on your team. He's going to be able to move around and either support the tackle player to get very profitable blocks, or just put himself somewhere to give everybody else better blocks. Especially when you are focusing here on 2 removal pieces. So having 2 going with the mighty blow route means you've got a tackle and 2 mighty blow players that can be supported by that guard to get a good hit on whatever the target is. If it's a dodge target, you've got the tackle blitzer. If it's just a regular target, you've got that mighty blow blitzer as well. So, like I said, check one of these down into tackle if you've got a dodge heavy environment. And then we've got some of my favourite players in just Blood Bowl now. The big and blockers are awesome. Them being movement boosted to 5 is just fantastic, and having that strength 4 heft is just beautiful, right? They start with no skills, but strength 4 is its own skill. Now, splitting up skills on blockers, I like one of them to take guard, and that again is just useful for 2 things. One is to make sure that the rest of your big uns, or if you deploy a line orc with a big and blocker, can make those profitable blocks. The extra thing is that every now and again you're going to want to put the boot in with a line orc. Guard gives you +1 assist all of the time. That's going to be extra bonus there for if you're going for a foul. Everyone else gets block early on. Okay, so I do recommend 3 block and 1 guard on your big and blockers. That guard is going to be useful to counter somebody else's guard, to be able to maneuver him around to make sure you get a good block. We're in quite a strength 4 saturated environment these times, okay? We've got lizards, we've got black orcs, we've got chaos, we've got Nurgle, we've got other chaos. There's just a load of big strength blockers out there now. So having guard is going to mean that actually one of your blockers is going to be able to block that other blocker with block, and that's going to be a really good block for you. And that's why guard is going to be really important. Now, the thrower. Take the thrower. You've got sure hands that's going to save you a reroll. You get leader on that thrower after a couple of TDs, and you've saved yourself a ton of cash. Eventually you can develop your team and you can fire that thrower if you want. I find him really useful. The downside is if you're only running with 2 line orcs, that thrower gets in the way and you're going to have to start deploying your big guns. But actually by this point it's fine. But the guard guy with 2 line orcs, everybody's strength 4, and that creates some difficult blocking situations. They're tough enough to be able to survive that punch, and you've got that thrower just in the backfield, and that sure hands comes in handy very early on in league development. So that's why I'm okay with it. By this point as well, you should have 3 rerolls and, there's a line, the apothecary to keep your team developing. Now the difficult thing about orcs is they can stand and they can punch and they can get back up again after they've been punched, but they are not the fastest. Your blitzers are going to be alright, your thrower is going to be alright, but the team is going to take a little while to develop. And it is gutting to get to 12 SPP when you need 14 SPP to get your second level up on one of your players for them to die. That's why the apothecary is so good early on. It fulfills the role of the 13th man, the 12th man. How many players have we got on this? Yeah, 11. The 12th man. It keeps a guy on there, but it also stops you from losing your tackle blitzer. It stops you from losing your block big un when he finally levels up. And that's why it's such an important element here. So 1250, you've got 4, you've got a thrower with leader. You're starting to build out the different roles. All those blockers are going to start just building this intense front line, and those blitzers have all got roles to play in the backfield. Level 2, so 1500, this is when your team gets to 1.5 million. Depending on your season's length, this might be going into season 2. Orcs are pretty survivable, and when you've got that apothecary as well, it means you're less likely to suffer natural wastage, shall we say. So your team's probably looking about 10 to 15 games at this point. This is when it really starts getting so good for orcs. So 4 blitzers, 4 black orcs, thrower, line orc. You picked up a second line orc there, a third line orc to be your 12th man. 3 rerolls, and the apothecary still stands true. And what we're focusing on here is grinding with our core players. We're keeping the TV streamlined. This is why this is dream teams, okay? Notice we haven't gone for the troll. The reason we haven't gone for the troll is because actually 1500 of focused skills on 12 players is better than taking an additional player who is a bit of a liability. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of trolls. The trained troll in Black Orc and Goblin teams, awesome. Alright, that 3+ loner just makes it so much better than the 4+ loner does. On this team, you've got those big un blockers, and I would rather take a block guard big un than a troll with no skills. You should. That's the right thing to do. Okay, strength 4, strength 5, there's not a massive difference. If you've got guard, there is no difference, except you're not rolling really stupid. So if he gets left on his own, you have to compensate. That is why I haven't gone with the troll. So these 4 blitzers, the tackle one takes mighty blow second. He becomes your primary safety. Okay, somebody comes through the backfield, you've got a vulnerability on the scoring threat, you've got a movement 6 piece who's going to be able to run over there and tackle mighty blow. The difference here is you've got that tackle to counter the skills, you've got that tackle to be able to actually punch him, and mighty blow is going to keep them down. The guard blitzer takes mighty blow as well. The other mighty blow blitzer takes guard. So then you've got this little core of support here. You might be thinking, well, guard, the guard piece is there to maneuver and give someone else a 2-die block. Absolutely. But that guard piece is going to stay in base contact. And what you'll find here is that the guard piece is going to run in, put himself in a bit of a scrum. The tackle piece is going to take out what he wants to do, and then your guard blitzer is just going to end up in the next turn in a position to make a 1 or 2-die block. At that point, you want that block to survive. You shouldn't be dodging with the blitzer too often, if ever, because with armor 10+, with strength 3, with block and mighty blow and guard, you should be able to start building that net of players to make those punches count, and that's when orcs start to absolutely ransack the opponent. Your guys can get smashed better than almost any other player and any other team in the game. Being able to punch back and having that mighty blow +1 to just help remove players. You're gonna start removing 3 or 4 players a game at this point, and your opponent is going to really struggle to compensate for that. So 2 guys with guard and mighty blow at this point, and 2 with mighty blow and tackle. You're at 1500 now, okay? Other teams are either bringing Hack Flem, they're bringing Griff, Carla, or they've just got some really good scoring threats of their own. Dark Elves with blodging blitzers, War Dancers, okay? Tackle, mighty blow, ends them, and that's what we want. The big and blocker army, we've got 4, and 2 of them have developed into block and guard. One takes guard first, then takes block. One takes block second, block first, and then takes guard second, and you start to build up this net, okay? Those guys will pair up with the other 2 big and blockers who are block, mighty blow. So what that does is those guard pieces help make sure that your 2 block mighty blow pieces always get those 2 die blocks. 2 dice equals probably a POW. Taken down, okay, that's 50% on each dice to knock something down that doesn't have skills, okay? That's 75% with a 2 die block. That guard keeping you at 2 dice is going to boost your, it's just going to help take it out. And mighty blow, as ever, is going to help keep them on the ground. It's so useful. So 2 block guard to support the 2 mighty blow. Now, mighty blow takes the support with the guard, knocks a dude down, probably going to free up your strength 4 blocker then to use that block skill to take somebody else down. Eventually they're going to get mighty blow as well, but it isn't just yet. That thrower, contentious piece that he is, leader, and then you've got a choice. You can just take block, okay? You can take block early on with the thrower and just focus on him being your 5th blitzer at that point. That is absolutely fine. You have got a potential here to speed up your offense. Orcs are slow, they're grindy, and look at this. We have got 8 combat pieces, okay? We've got a chunk of combat. We've got 4 hefty linebackers and 4 very good blitzers here, okay? That is just an army on the Blood Bowl pitch. That thrower can be your utility piece. It's fine. He's got sure hands, he's got a reroll, and then on the ball is going to give him movement, 8 at the beginning of every one of your offensive drives. Then by all means, burn your leader reroll, kick him on the bench, bring in another line orc, pretend you don't have him. At this point, sure, he's like 100k, but that 100k is the same as a reroll, which is 60k, okay? So you're paying 40k for an orc with slightly worse armor with sure hands who's going to help you score. That's where we are at this point. That's why the thrower is okay, I think, when you get down the road as well. So he's good early on because you got the sure hands and you're going to be able to swing that leader, and then later on he just becomes a 100k reroll that can come on the pitch and gives you that sure hands ability. Now on the ball is something that can free up 3 extra squares. You receive, you can move that orc, he starts the game with movement 8. Move in, sure hands. That's going to give you plenty of space to choose your side and plenty of space to recover the ball. In the meantime, you've got 4 big and blockers and 4 blitzers to maintain that front, okay? 8 brilliant players up front. You've got 2 line orcs and a thrower in the backfield to collect the ball. You've got extra movement to make it happen. Or you just give him block, boost the survivability, and actually gives him a secondary role as a blitzer if you need him to. And by this point, you've probably got some ancillary SPP on a line orc. It's block. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, and I do recommend taking a random general skill as early as you can on an orc lineman. It's just worth it. Kick is great. Tackle's going to be very useful. You know, block is the best skill for a line orc because they are going to go on the line most of the time, and block's going to keep them alive, and it means that actually there's going to be situations where they get to make a profitable block too, especially with the fact you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guard players on your team. 1 guard guy, strength 4 block, means you've basically got an extra big and blocker at that point. So block with the line orcs all the way. 3 rerolls, apothecary plus leader, it gives you plenty because you're starting to build this net of block and skill that should keep you safe. And at 1750, orcs are just filthy. Okay, this one comes in, 745. So you've got that contingent of 4 blitzers. Tackle, mighty blow, tackle, mighty blow. Guard, mighty blow, guard, mighty blow. One of them gets tackle. At that point, you've got 2 players with mighty blow, tackle, and guard. Those are your mid-range combat pieces. They've got tackle to take out their targets, they've got guard to support somebody else, and they've got mighty blow to make every one of their blocks count. It's the perfect place to be at that point. It's the perfect place to be at that point. Now, you've got a couple of spots here. When it gets to your 3rd level up for a blitzer, okay, Mighty Blow, Tackle, Guard will give you everything you want to do with a blitzer, okay, so that's these 2 just taken care of. Mighty Blow, Guard here, you can take. There's several skills that work really well at this point. They're kind of throwaway tertiary skills, but they are going to be very, very useful. Frenzy, Sure Hands. Now, this will basically be dependent on your league, depending on your playstyle. I love a Mighty Blow Frenzy Tackle Blitzer on this roster, especially when you've got a couple of guard pieces running around as well. Okay, if you can position yourself to make a 4-die tackle block with block on an opponent's scoring threat, that guy is gone, and that's what you want. You have a perfect counterpiece that's going to double dip with those blocks, and a 4-die block is much nicer than a 2-die block. So I do love one Frenzy Blitzer once you've got Tackle and Mighty Blow. Okay, Mighty Blow is going to be useful all of the time. Tackle is going to be useful in every game. Trust me. Alright, maybe you're going to play against dwarves, but Mighty Blow in that situation is going to be useful, and if you've got Frenzy with some guard, that's going to be great. Frenzy block with Mighty Blow is going to be effective. Now the other angle you can take is a Sure Hands additional scoring threat. Mighty Blow guard, block, Sure Hands. You've got a secondary person. Now, if you want to get rid of that thrower early on, if you've got enough cash to purchase your reroll, you can replace him with a Line Orc. Then you need to prioritize taking Sure Hands. But with that thrower having integral Sure Hands, it means that you can use that skill to do something else. It means you get one extra guard sooner, you get one extra Mighty Blow sooner, and your blitzers are gonna be punching things for probably 16 turns of the game. Alright, 12 to 16 turns of the game, they are gonna be in combat. They're gonna be making those rolls. Sure Hands, once, twice a game. So definitely consider whether or not you want to take it. In this situation, you can throw it on there, create another scoring threat, and then you can probably drop your TV by getting rid of that thrower. I do like the thrower as a bit of a speed up game for my Orc team. At that point, your offense is actually cooking pretty decently, and you're probably scoring as quickly as like Nobility and stuff like that. That's not a bad place to be. Now the big and blockers though, that's where the fun starts. Guard, block, Mighty Blow. Guard, block, Mighty Blow. Guard, block, Mighty Blow, times 2. All of them, it's the perfect skill combination. What you can do is you can chuck a Frenzy in there once you've got your guard net set up. Alright, but quite frankly, block, guard, Mighty Blow is going to do everything you want it to do. That guard is going to enable your Line Orcs to take a decent 2-die block. It's also going to mean, and this is probably the most important thing, that your other 4 strength blockers are going to remain 4 strength. They're going to be able to make those 2-die blocks and then position yourselves really well. That Mighty Blow is just going to help you make the most of those powers, make the most of those both downs. It doesn't work on defense anymore, which is a bit of a slight, but man, you are going to be piling the dice and piling those casualties. And I have played against a ton of Orc teams that look like this, and they are always a challenge. You know me, I like a Skaven threat. You've got tackle, tackle, tackle. You've got guard, 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 guard. It's just horrific. Even with a decent blitzer, even with a Minotaur, you are going to struggle to make good blocks against this network of players. And if you do, they're just going to get up the next turn and block, Mighty Blow you back down. It is just an absolute steel network. It's like trying to blitz through parking bollards, alright? It's just not going to happen, and this entire roster just turns to steel, and it is beautiful. So the throw out leader for your extra reroll on the ball, you can bin him off if you like, or you can use him there as a reroll that for 40k extra picks up the ball and moves 8 squares in the first turn. I like that for hurry up offense for Orcs. I like it a lot. The other alternative route you can take is to go and buy the troll with a goblin and go for that route, but they're both a bit of a liability. I do like taking a goblin, and at 1750 I would absolutely recommend it. You can just take another Line Orc, that's fine. At this point we've got 13 players, 14 players now. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 players. That goblin's great. Okay, extra scoring threat, you get the stunty angle, and then probably most importantly, you get a cheap fowler, and that's going to be useful with this amount of guard. That is going to be incredibly useful. Now, talking about fouling, you've got Line Orcs. Those Line Orcs are going to get casualties. It's just how it works. Maybe chuck them an MVP if you get the choice. Maybe they'll just get a random MVP. 2 with block to go on the line to support those big and blockers. If you need to deploy 3 and you don't have 3 guys to go on the line, chuck in the guard blocker. Everybody's strength 4. You're going to take some punches, but in this game, at this level, you are going to take punches, and I think I'd be okay with taking it on a strength 4 armor 10 piece. One guy gets Dirty Player. So we've got Dirty Player here, and we've got the Goblin, and like I said, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guard pieces on this team. Foul. Just foul. Dirty Player Line Orc, +1 for guard as well, that's +2. Just Mighty Blow them to the ground, and then just Mighty Foot them into the coffin. Alright, that's the best way to do it. They're cheap. 50k for a Line Orc, 40k for a Goblin. That is better than any inducement having a player that can come on, that can do stuff. And the great thing about the Goblin is that stunty ability to just 3+ dodge everywhere forever is going to get you out of it's going to get you out of trouble quite a lot. But if you look at this roster, everybody here is a reasonable scoring threat. 4 blitzers, thrower, your line orcs in a pinch, and that Goblin gives you so many different dynamics to this team. And 8 of them are combat legend of players, all right? And that's the thing, when it gets to orcs, you start brewing up, and realistically from 1300 the team starts to turn to iron. And if you have ever watched a 1750 battle between orcs and dwarves, it is like Russian roulette. At some point someone dies and then it snowballs, and it tends to be last man standing. It's proper smash mouth Blood Bowl, and this roster is definitely one that can withstand it and win, and I love it. I love orcs in this edition. Animosity is a bit of a pain, but you don't share with orcs because they don't care. They're there to punch things, and that is really putting the blood in Blood Bowl. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of Orcs in Blood Bowl 2020. What have you learned? Because actually, we're all here to share information. This is what we do. But for now, it's NFL time, so I'm going to disappear. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy God, mighty blow blocking.
Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.